by the Tata Group has just announced a mega acquisition of 250 Airbus passenger jets, making it one of the largest aviation deals in history. Listen in to Prime Minister Modi.
Is one of the milestones of
has strong affinities to India and is keen to weave our destiny together. Make in India is at the heart of the Airbus strategy in India, and the C295 program demonstrates Airbus' commitment to supporting, dear Prime Minister, your vision of an Atmanirbhar Bharat. With the Tata Group, I'd like to say Airbus as the most trusted and respected partner. We have grown, as Chandra explained, a very close relationship in the last 2 years, and this is placing the two companies in a very good place to work together and develop India as a leading and sustainable aviation market. Chandra, we believed and we continue to believe in your vision for Air India and for India. So India is well on its way to achieving its ambition in the aerospace and defense sector, and Airbus will continue to be a very strong partner in this journey. Thank you very much again for your trust, and looking forward to working together now.
Thank you, Mr. Fowry. I would now request Honourable Prime Minister to address this special event.
Your Excellency, my friend, President Emmanuel Macron, Sri Piyush Goyal, Commerce and Industry Minister, Sri Jyotiraditya Scindia, Minister of Civil Aviation, Sri Ratan Tata, Chairman of Tata Trust, Sri N. Chandrasekharan, Chairman Tata Sons, Mr. Campbell Wilson, CEO Air India, Mr. Guillaume Faury, CEO Airbus. सबसे पहले मैं एयर इंडिया और एयरबस को इस लैंडमार्क एग्रीमेंट के लिए बहुत बहुत बधाई और शुभकामनाएं देता हूं। इस कार्यक्रम से जुड़ने के लिए मेरे मित्र राष्ट्रपति मैक्रो को मैं विशेष रूप से धन्यवाद करता हूं। यह महत्वपूर्ण डील भारत और फ्रांस के गहराते संबंधों के साथ साथ भारत के सिविल एविएशन सेक्टर की सफलताओं और आकांक्षाओं को भी दर्शाती है। आज हमारा सिविल एविएशन सेक्टर भारत के विकास का अभिन्न हिस्सा है। सिविल एविएशन को मजबूत करना हमारी नेशनल इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर स्ट्रेटेजी का एक महत्वपूर्ण पहलू है। पिछले 8 वर्षों में भारत में हवाई अड्डों की संख्या 74 से उछलकर 147 हो गई है, यानी लगभग 2 गुनी बढ़त। हमारी रीजनल कनेक्टिविटी स्कीम उड़ान के माध्यम से देश के सुदूर हिस्सों की एयर कनेक्टिविटी से जुड़ रहे हैं, जिससे लोगों के आर्थिक एवं सामाजिक विकास को बढ़ावा मिल रहा है। निकट भविष्य में भारत एविएशन सेक्टर में विश्व का तीसरा सबसे बड़ा मार्केट बनने जा रहा है। कई आकलनों के अनुसार भारत को अगले 15 वर्षों में 2000 से अधिक विमानों की आवश्यकता होगी। आज की ऐतिहासिक घोषणा इस बढ़ती मांग को पूरा करने में सहायक होगी। भारत की मेक इन इंडिया, मेक फॉर द वर्ल्ड विजन के तहत एरोस्पेस मैन्युफैक्चरिंग में अनेक नए अवसर खुल रहे हैं। ग्रीनफील्ड और ब्राउनफील्ड एयरपोर्ट्स के लिए ऑटोमेटिक रूप से 100% एफडीआई का प्रावधान रखा गया है। उसी तरह ग्राउंड हैंडलिंग सर्विसेज, मेंटेनेंस, रिपेयर एंड ओवरहॉल, यानी एमआरओ में भी 100% एफडीआई की अनुमति दी गई है। भारत पूरे क्षेत्र के लिए एमआरओ का हब बन सकता है। आज सभी ग्लोबल एविएशन कंपनीज भारत में मौजूद है। मैं उन्हें इन अवसरों का पूरा लाभ उठाने के लिए आमंत्रित करता हूं। फ्रेंड्स, एयर इंडिया और एयरबस का समझौता भारत फ्रांस स्ट्रैटेजिक पार्टनरशिप के लिए भी एक महत्वपूर्ण उपलब्धि है। कुछ ही महीनों पहले अक्टूबर 2022 में मैंने वडोदरा में डिफेंस ट्रांसपोर्ट एयरक्राफ्ट प्रोजेक्ट के शिलान्यास में हिस्सा लिया था। 2.5 बिलियन यूरो के निवेश से बन रहे इस प्रोजेक्ट में भी टाटा और एयरबस की साझेदारी है। मुझे ये जानकर भी खुशी है कि फ्रेंच कंपनी साफरान विमानों के इंजन की सर्विस के लिए भारत में सबसे बड़ी एमआरओ फैसिलिटी स्थापित कर रही है। आज इंटरनेशनल ऑर्डर और मल्टीलेटरल सिस्टम की स्थिरता और संतुलन सुनिश्चित करने में भारत फ्रांस भागीदारी प्रत्यक्ष भूमिका निभा रही है। चाहे इंडो पैसिफिक क्षेत्र में सुरक्षा और स्थिरता का विषय हो या वैश्विक फूड सिक्योरिटी तथा हेल्थ सिक्योरिटी, भारत और फ्रांस साथ मिलकर सकारात्मक योगदान दे रहे हैं। राष्ट्रपति मैक्रो, मुझे विश्वास है कि इस वर्ष हमारे द्विपक्षीय संबंध और भी नई ऊंचाइयों को छुएंगे। भारत की G20 अध्यक्षता के अंतर्गत हमें साथ मिलकर काम करने के लिए और अधिक अवसर प्राप्त होंगे। एक बार फिर से आप सभी को बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद और बहुत बहुत शुभकामनाएं।
Thank you, sir. I would now request President of France, His Excellency Emmanuel Macron, to deliver his remarks.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Dear Prime Minister, dear Narendra, I'm very glad to have the opportunity to see you, even this is just through this VTC, but after our meeting on the sideline of the G20 in Bali and the great discussion we had together. And I want to congratulate you, your ministers present here, and our two CEOs, dear Chandra Sekaran and dear Mr. Fori, for this new success. And thank you very much for offering us the opportunity to celebrate this strategic partnership in the aerospace sector. Once again, this achievement shows that Airbus and all its French partners, including Safran, are fully dedicated to develop new areas of cooperation with India, and we've achieved so much with India. I mean, in a wide range of sectors, from space to cyber, from defense to culture, from health to energy transition, and now we have the historic opportunity to go much further, given the potential of Indian and the Indian people. I fully concur with you, Mr. Prime Minister, dear Narendra, about all the perspectives we have and about the strengths of our partnership. I just would like to add...
Massive deal. One of the biggest in history. One of the biggest in history has just been signed between Air India and Airbus of France for 250 passenger jets. That is 140 A320s, 70 A321s, and 40 A350 long-range airliners. It's one of the biggest deals in history. Just to give you a bit of perspective, 250 aircraft this deal has been signed between Air India and Airbus. A second deal is expected to be signed between Air India and Boeing. It could be announced very, very shortly, which could take the total number of aircraft being ordered by Air India to a staggering 470 to 500 aircraft. If it reaches that number of 470 viewer, it will make Air India's deal the biggest aircraft order in history. That is a record currently held by American Airlines, which had ordered 460 aircraft. That is the largest aircraft order in history at this point. But if Air India's second announcement expected today with Boeing goes through and is announced, it will become the record holder for the largest aviation deal in history. 250 aircraft announced in this massive order, multi-billion-dollar order for A320s, A321s and wide-body A350 aircraft for Air India. I'm joined now by Geeta Mohan, our Foreign Affairs editor, joining us live. Also with us is Nagarjun Dwarkanath. Geeta, obviously a huge, an aircraft order is never just an aircraft order. It's a diplomatic handshake because of the huge benefits that accrue to France as a result of this order, the millions of jobs and the years and years of employment that such a deal generates. No wonder that both Prime Minister Modi and President Macron were there for the announcement.
Well, that's right, Shiv. The fact that you are pointing out the presence of leadership at the topmost level clearly shows the importance India and France attach to this very deal.
Yeah.
It is one of the biggest deals, but also the fact that it is taking forward not just a business deal between the two countries, but the strategic cooperation between the two countries,
Yes.
where the two countries now are inseparable in many ways when it comes to technology, advanced technology, defense, and now we're looking at the air connectivity space as well. A country that has stood by India in the toughest times, Shiv. There is no other way of putting it when it comes to cooperation with France, and that's the reason why we see not just enhancement and growing of ties. India is a huge market, and one country that has the opportunity to really take advantage of the friendship and the loyalty that it has shown through the years is France, and hence India completely opens its doors to France, and France does the same with India, and that certainly is visible with the leadership coming out and making that announcement, being a part of this huge announcement. And there will be, like you said, many more deals, more strategic in nature, defense in nature, that are going to come in the coming and the near future.
And I'm going to tell our viewers in just a moment, Geeta, about how this isn't just going to be of benefit economically speaking to France. It will also have many spillover employment benefits for India, because as part of the deal structure, many of the parts of these aircraft will necessarily have to be outsourced to Indian manufacturers. In fact, both Boeing and Airbus build many of their subsystems and parts using Indian technology by Indian companies. Aero Structures has been one of the big success stories as far as the Indian defense industry is concerned. But I want to get a perspective from India Today's Nagarjun Dwarkanath, who happens to be a passenger pilot himself. He's flown aircraft, he's flown for an airline also, and he knows a thing or two both about aircraft as well as the civil aviation business. Naga, 250 aircraft, massive by any stretch of imagination, A320s, A321s, A350s. So from your short haul flights to your long haul, Air India betting big on Airbus.
Well, that's true. In fact, it's the most big deal that India would ever seen. 500 aircraft being ordered at a single go. It's very big, Shiv. The massive impact that will have on employment also. What we are looking at is one aircraft will at least generate employment to 10 pilots who are in major dearth of jobs right now because the market is saturated as well. So the fresh pilots will also have employment offers. The cabin crew, one aircraft will at least have 30 people in shifts working. So you will have one aircraft will provide employment not just for 30 cabin crew, but 10 of pilots. So 40 flight ops will have working employment through this. And imagine the ground staff also, and back end of manufacturing and repair and mechanics, all of them. So it's not just an economic deal between the two countries, but also employment generations locally also. If you ask me as a pilot, I would put my hand on the Airbus because it's much more user-friendly for me while flying. It uses the fly-by-wire technology where it's a small joystick, which is to your left as a captain's seat that you fly. It's very easy and user-friendly. And Boeing still uses the control column, which is the typical stick that you see in one of the video games with a control column, which is L-shaped control column. So for me, my favorite is Airbus. But the big thing is both long-range distance aircraft that is being ordered right now. Airbus 350, which is the most renowned new model of Airbus because there's less carbon emission, and the 777s extended range, which can fly from India to US non-stop without any refueling time needed. So you can fly 18 to 19 hours with a set of 5 to 6 pilots there. That's the long range that we are talking about. And Airbus 350 is also capable of flying the same range. We have British Airways, Singapore Airways, Cathay Pacific using such big aircrafts. And now Air India will be the first Indian airline to have its fleet with Airbus 350. It's a big feather in the cap as well. But like I mentioned, not just the two countries' relation would improve, but also the economic situation on ground is definitely going to improve.
Absolutely. In fact, as Naga was pointing out, there are going to be benefits here for India. In fact, just earlier today, Boeing announced that the first Indian-made fin of its best-selling 737 aircraft has just been exported from an Indian on-soil company here in India to the United States manufacturing facility. So huge benefits as far as civil aviation is concerned. Remember that Air India traditionally has bought aircraft from both Airbus and Boeing. These two companies dominate and control a virtual monopoly of civil aviation in the world today. They're like the Coke and Pepsi of soft drinks, and therefore, like we said, 250 aircraft have been ordered with the Airbus now, and a similar sized order is expected with Boeing that will be announced either later today or at some point tomorrow. Thank you very much, Geeta and Naga, for joining us on this really, really big story. 250 aircraft to Airbus already makes this the biggest airline order in history here in India. It's not yet the world's biggest order, but like I said, if that number becomes 470, with the addition of orders sent to Boeing, it becomes the largest aircraft order in history. So we'll update you once we hear on that. So we'll keep you posted on that story. We've got more breaking news coming in now. And searches at the BBC office in India's national capital have been on now for over 6 hours. Sources tell India Today that allegations of tax evasion and international taxation and transfer pricing irregularities are currently under investigation at the BBC office. The British Broadcasting Corporation has released a statement saying the income tax authorities are currently at the BBC offices in New Delhi and Mumbai, and we are fully cooperating. We hope to have this situation resolved as soon as possible. That's what the BBC has said in an official statement released just a short moment ago. 6 hours since the income tax raids began in both Delhi and Mumbai. So let's just tell you that a team of 15 income tax officials are carrying out raids at the premises of the BBC in Delhi's Connaught Place and in the Bandra Kurla complex and Khar in Mumbai. Sources tell India Today that the phones of some employees have reportedly been confiscated as well. Here's everything you need to know so far about this big story.
An explosive escalation amid the BBC Modi film row. Tax officials, aided by top financial department officials, swooped down on multiple BBC India offices in Delhi and Mumbai. Searches were carried out at BBC's Connaught Place office in Delhi and offices in Mumbai's BKC and Khar.
IT डिपार्टमेंट से चलो आप लोग फोन रखो इधर आराम से तो बात करो भैया फोन गेट खुलवा रहे हैं आप 10 से 10 मिनट
India Today accessed images of a tax department official who was confronted by the BBC staff during the IT searches. The lone tax official can be seen accusing the BBC staff of stalling the raids by keeping the gates shut for close to 10 minutes.
टैक्स डिपार्टमेंट IT डिपार्टमेंट से चलो आप लोग फोन रखो इधर आराम से तो बात करो भैया फोन गेट खुलवा रहे हैं आप 10 से 10 मिनट से गेट कौन खुलवा रहे हैं आप लोग ऐसे बिना वारंट के गेट खोलेंगे वारंट आपको पता है वारंट सील हो चुका है देखा हुआ वारंट तब एंटर किया आप लोग
Sources say multiple phones and electronic devices of BBC employees, particularly from finance and accounts departments, were seized. Many BBC staff were asked to go home. Sources added that allegations of tax evasion, international taxation and transfer pricing irregularities by BBC were probed during the marathon survey. Reacting on the searches, the BBC said it is fully cooperating with the tax officials and hopes to resolve the issue soon. While the opposition called the raids undeclared emergency, the BJP justified them as crackdown on anti-India BBC, which it mocked as brushed bakwas corporation.
यहाँ हम जेपीसी की मांग कर रहे हैं अडानी के मामले में और वहाँ सरकार बीबीसी के पीछे पड़ी हुई है। विनाशकाले विपरीत बुद्धि।
बीबीसी के अगर कृत्य देखें, जिसके उदाहरण मैं आपके समक्ष अभी पेश करूंगा, तो ये पूरे विश्व की सबसे भ्रष्ट बकवास कॉरपोरेशन हो गई है। और दुख की बात यह है कि बीबीसी का प्रोपेगेंडा और कांग्रेस का एजेंडा एक साथ मेल खाता है।
The raids come close on the heels of BBC facing charges of getting money from Chinese state-controlled Huawei to peddle anti-India propaganda. India had also banned BBC's documentary on Gujarat riots, which allegedly demonized Prime Minister Narendra Modi despite a Supreme Court clean chit. With Divyesh Singh and Mustafa Sheikh in Mumbai and Milan Sharma and Ashutosh Mishra in Delhi, Bureau Report, India Today.
The first government reaction on the BBC income tax raids taking place in Mumbai and Delhi is just out. Union Minister Anurag Thakur has just spoken out on it. He says no one is above the law in this country. Listen in to Anurag Thakur.
इनकम टैक्स विभाग समय समय पर जहां पर अनियमितताएं पाई जाती हैं वहां पर सर्वेस करता है और जब ये सर्वे का काम पूरा होता है तब वो अपना एक प्रेस नोट या प्रेस ब्रीफिंग करके जानकारी देते हैं। तो मुझे लगता है जब ये इनकम टैक्स विभाग का सर्वे पूरा होगा वो जानकारी पूरी आपको डिटेल में दे देंगे और कोई भी देश में न्याय से ऊपर तो या हमारी जो कानून व्यवस्था है उससे ऊपर तो कोई नहीं हो सकता।
Okay, let's go straight across to India Today. Is Milan Sharma standing by outside the BBC offices in Delhi where those raids have been on, Milan, now for 6 hours and counting. Union Minister Anurag Thakur saying no one is above the law. Can you tell us what the current status is? It's already been 6 hours. The BBC has put out a statement saying they're cooperating. What are you hearing?
Well, that's right, Shiv. It's been 6 hours since the raid started. And of course, the IT department is not calling these raids. They are calling it a survey of sorts that they are conducting on the tax misappropriation and the tax advantages that the BBC might be giving to any of the subsidiary companies as stated from the IT sources. But at the moment also, Shiv, the media's firm outside because the IT officials team of at least 20 people has still not left the premises, and we do see the Delhi police officials also standing by inside the premises at the moment. So of course the big question here is again, Shiv, will these searches or this survey continue today? What we've been given to understand from our sources of people inside the BBC office at the moment is that each one's computer systems and laptops have been physically checked by the IT officials. Now those systems and laptops they are not checking have been marked with an X. So can we say that these checkings or searches will continue tomorrow also? For that we don't know at the moment, but yes, the IT department, the income tax department taking this very seriously. Of course, political pot boiling is happening on the other side with the Congress blaming the BJP and the BJP then clarifying again that no one's above the law. But we do see, and there is a link that is being built by the opposition with the BBC documentary on Narendra Modi with the current searches that are going on in the BBC offices in Delhi as well as in Mumbai.
Okay, I just want to summarize what Milan and her team have been bringing us since this morning, since the raids actually started. We've got a bit of an inside track on what exactly is happening at the BBC offices. So let's just show you one by one, point-wise, what's taking place both at the Connaught Place office as well as the other. Accounts and financial documents are being apparently checked. Paper and digital accounts and documents are being checked. Let's move to the next point. Phones, laptops of finance department employees have been seized like Milan was just telling us, tax evasion allegations are being investigated at this point of time. Some people are being questioned inside there. Tax evasion allegations are being investigated. Global transfer pricing is being probed. That's something we've already got from the Income Tax Department. Global tax irregularities are under the scanner. And like I said, both digital and paper documents are being looked at very, very closely. Let's go across to India Today's Divyesh Singh. He's live with us from Mumbai, where two locations are being raided, Divyesh, at Bandra Kurla Complex and Khar, both of the BBC. What's the latest? 6 hours and counting since these raids began.
Well, Shiv, yes, it has been almost 6 hours that income tax officials are at the Santa Cruz premises, at the BKC premises where BBC studio and offices are located, and they're carrying out survey over here as well. They are carrying out assessment of financial records, tax records, revenue records from the Finance and Accounts Department of the BBC subsidiary office, which is located in Mumbai. Remember, the allegations that are being leveled, or the suspicion that the Income Tax Department has, is that transfer pricing norms were violated and huge amounts of profits were diverted through transfer pricing to some subsidiaries of BBC. So that is how the tax was evaded. That is how tax evasion was carried out. And on that basis, this survey is being carried out. As per the allegations leveled by opposition leaders and some others over social media, Income Tax Department sources have said that it is only on basis of intelligence that this survey was carried out, and for that basis a satisfaction note is prepared if in case any of the concerned parties approaches court, so that note can be presented in front of court on what was the evidence.
Stay with me, Divyesh. Just on that point, I want to recap for our viewers what the charges against the BBC are at this point of time, based on which these, this investigation is taking place and these raids are taking place. Number one, deliberate non-compliance with transfer pricing rules is what is being alleged by the Income Tax Department. Charge number two, repeatedly flouting tax laws is what the IT department says. Number three, manipulation for benefits and tax advantages is the third charge. The charge number four, diverting significant amounts of the profits in an irregular fashion. So those are basically the four big charges that the Income Tax Department is working under to effect these raids. Now listen into this showdown between a BBC India employee and an income tax sleuth when the raids began just a short while ago. Take a look at this.
IT डिपार्टमेंट चलो आप लोग फोन रखो इधर आराम से तो बात करो यार फोन गेट खुलवा रहे हो आप 10 मिनट से गेट कौन खुलवा रहे हो आप लोग ऐसे बिना वारंटी गेट खोलेंगे वारंट आपको पता है वारंट सील हो चुका है देखा हुआ वारंट तब अंडर किया इट्स ओके इधर आराम से टैक्स डिपार्टमेंट IT डिपार्टमेंट चलो आप लोग फोन रखो इधर आराम से तो बात करो यार फोन गेट खुलवा रहे हो आप 10 मिनट से गेट कौन खुलवा रहे हो आप लोग ऐसे बिना वारंटी गेट खोलेंगे वारंट आपको पता है वारंट सील हो चुका है देखा हुआ वारंट तब अंडर किया इट्स ओके इधर आराम से
So obviously tempers up at the BBC office. Remember, there is going to be a very perceived context to what is happening since that BBC documentary was controversial. So all of this happening in the wake of that is going to raise a lot of eyebrows and raise a lot of legitimate questions. Let's go across to Milan once again to get some clarity on this. Milan, what is the government saying when faced with the questions about this being, a vendetta attack? There are politicians saying this is vendetta for that BBC documentary. The timing cannot be ignored. Obviously, those questions are going to be asked.
Well, yes, Shiv. In fact, these are the questions that are being asked by the opposition, at least, who's saying that the timing of the searches that are being conducted by the IT department hint at the fact that there is vendetta that's going on against the BBC. And of course, the opposition there gearing the BBC department there. Now, Shiv, I can hear some kind of a movement inside the office at the moment because we were waiting for a fact that the IT officials could come out anytime. So here, the Delhi Police's team is once again at the spot, and we are seeing movement here. We were waiting for the income tax officials to leave from the building, and perhaps that is what is being hinted at the moment. But the big question is, Shiv, whether or not these searches are done for today, or will they continue tomorrow as well? Because that is the indication that we are actually getting. As I was telling you through my sources that I've spoken to, some of the systems, some of the laptops and digital systems, they could not check. So those that have not been checked could be checked again. And meanwhile, we are waiting outside the BBC's premises in KG Marg at the moment, because any movement from here would signal what the IT officials are taking with them today, and if there is something at all that they found in the office that is worth incrimination or worth taking into as evidence. Shiv.
Okay, Milan, we're going to keep your cameras rolling, because if there's some movement on there, I don't want my viewers to miss any part of that. We're going to come straight back to you in just a moment. But like I said, the political questions that are being asked, the normal, legitimate questions that are being asked right now about the timing of this crackdown haven't been answered fully just yet. Is this vendetta? Is this due process? No one is above the law. That's most certainly the case. But is there a message in the timing of this attack? Most people will say that's an obvious question given the politics over the BBC documentary. But a war over this IT department crackdown has broken out instantaneously once the raids began. The opposition has hit out at the centre for trying to muzzle free speech, alleging that the British broadcaster is being hounded for its documentary on Prime Minister Modi. The BJP has branded the BBC Brushed Bakwas Corporation, claiming that it was used to spewing venom against India. Defending the IT searches, the BJP says that the agencies are simply doing their job and no one needs to get their blood up.
यहाँ हम जेपीसी की मांग कर रहे हैं अडानी के मामले में, और वहां सरकार बीबीसी के पीछे पड़ी हुई है। विनाशकाले विपरीत बुद्धि।
बीबीसी के अगर कृत्य देखें, जिसके उदाहरण मैं आपके समक्ष अभी पेश करूंगा, तो ये पूरे विश्व की सबसे भ्रष्ट बकवास कॉरपोरेशन हो गई है। और दुख की बात यह है कि बीबीसी का प्रोपेगेंडा और कांग्रेस का एजेंडा एक साथ मेल खाता है।
प्रेस की अभिव्यक्ति की स्वतंत्रता, जो लोकतंत्र की आत्मा है, मोदी सरकार को बर्दाश्त नहीं। एक डॉक्यूमेंट्री बीबीसी ने बनाई है मोदी जी के बारे में। भरपूर कोशिश की सरकार ने कि उसका प्रदर्शन न होने दे। मोदी सरकार ने आज सुबह से, कल जैसे ही खत्म हुई संसद, आय करके छापे पड़ना शुरू हो गए।
श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी के नेतृत्व वाली सरकार है। यहां पे कोई भी एजेंसी हो, आईटी हो, इनकम टैक्स डिपार्टमेंट, चाहे जांच एजेंसियां हो, ये वो पिंजरे का तोता नहीं रही हैं जो सर्वोच्च न्यायालय ने कांग्रेस पार्टी की सरकार को फटकार लगाई थी। ये अपना काम कर रही हैं।
And here's what Union Home Minister Amit Shah said in his interview today on the BBC's docu-series on Prime Minister Modi. This was before the raids actually began, but this is on the documentary controversy. Listen.
बीजेपी के स्पोक्स पर्सन्स कह रहे हैं कि हर इलेक्शन से पहले ऐसे एक इंटरनेशनल कंस्पिरेसी होता है। पहले रफाल था।
देखिए स्मिता जी, मैं बीजेपी के स्पोक्स पर्सन को इसका जवाब देने दीजिए। मैं आपको बताता हूं, सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने इसका संज्ञान लिया है। इस बारे में मैं कम से कम अभी बात करना नहीं चाहूंगा।
क्या कोई कंस्पिरेसी है सर, जैसे बीबीसी का डॉक्यूमेंट्री हो या फिर ये सब, ये हिंडनबर्ग का रिपोर्ट हो, क्या आप भी ऐसे देखते हैं कि कोई?
देखिए, सत्य जो होता है इस पर 1000 कॉन्स्पिरेसी कर लो, कुछ नहीं होता है। वो करोड़ों सूर्य की भांति तेजस्वी बनकर ही बाहर आता है। ये तो मोदी जी के पीछे 2002 से कर रहे हैं, और हर बार मोदी जी मजबूत होकर, सच्चे बनकर और जनता की ज्यादा लोकप्रियता हासिल कर बाहर आए हैं।
And remember, it was Rajya Sabha MP and advocate Mahesh Jethmalani who had first claimed a link between the BBC and the Chinese state-linked company Huawei. Here are those allegations he leveled against the BBC. Number one, that the BBC is taking money allegedly from China's Huawei. a company that's actually been banned in many countries, that the BBC is pursuing China's agenda, is what Jethmalani said. He also said that the BBC-Huawei cash for propaganda deal was something that required scrutiny, and therefore nobody was actually overreacting. We've got more breaking news coming in now. And Mahesh Jethmalani, who we've just quoted, the Rajya Sabha MP and senior advocate, has just said that the IT department should be allowed to investigate if a foreign entity is working in the country. It's only a survey, says Mahesh Jethmalani, and cannot be looked at as a crackdown or vendetta. Listen in to Mahesh Jethmalani.
My tweet has got to do only with the fact that the BBC, through its overseas entity, right, which I've named already, has been taking money from China profusely in large sums, and it has invested it in Chinese state-owned companies in pension funds of their employees have been invested in pension funds in companies which are state-owned by the Chinese state.
Okay, it's a big day as far as aviation and India is concerned. After that big Air India deal, after this very short break, we're going to answer some big questions on America's most advanced fighter jet making its debut showing in India. It's the F-35 Lightning II at the Aero India show in Bengaluru. What's it doing here? We'll tell you all about it next.
Over 3 decades, Business Today has delivered news, views and analysis like no other, chronicling India Inc.'s journey through time. Now, at 31 years, Business Today presents the future. Mission 2047, Road to India at 100. With Indian industry's biggest stalwarts and an exclusive interview with Google CEO Sundar Pichai. Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com.
Destroyed. C-17 Globemaster for Hawks of Suryakiran Aerobatic Team.
It is the most expensive aircraft development program in history, and it is the aircraft that the United States will be building in the largest numbers ever. The F-35 Lightning II is a fifth-generation stealth fighter in service with the United States Air Force and a few other allied air forces. But what are a pair of F-35s that you see here ripping up the sky over Bengaluru doing here in India? They made their roaring debut when they landed yesterday at Asia's biggest air show, becoming the biggest attraction so far, at a time when India has started developing its own fifth-generation fighter aircraft. Is this a message by the United States? After all, there's talk of the US making a pitch to India for the F-35. Will that be a reality? Is India going to bite? Where do things stand? Abhishek Bhalla answers that question.
A lone F-35 fighter aircraft roaring through the skies over the Yelahanka Air Base in Bengaluru. The star attraction at the Aero India show. The stealth fighter jet performing stunts. The fifth generation fighter jet is the most modern machine. Its stealth, advanced sensors, information fusion and network connectivity, all packaged within in a supersonic, long-range, highly maneuverable fighter makes it a deadly jet. Adding to the combat capabilities, its ability to analyze and share data makes it a force multiplier. It can carry up to 18,000 pounds of ordnance. Its stealth features allows it to go undetected. Advanced sensor fusion adds to the aircraft's awareness, making it more lethal.
These are the F-35 Lightning II. They're fifth-generation fighter aircraft and the latest fighters to be developed by the United States. They're in service with the United States, but you're wondering, what the hell are these two aircraft doing here at Aero India? Let me first tell you that the F-35 is making its debut here in India. These aircraft have never been in Indian airspace, certainly never on Indian soil.
Two aircraft flew to India for the air show. One is on static display and the other was party of an enthralling flying demonstration. The timing of its maiden appearance in India is interesting. Does this mean US wants to pitch the F-35 for the Indian Air Force? India is planning its own fifth-generation aircraft, the Advanced Medium Combat Aircraft or AMCA. But that will take time.
An engine which powers AMCA, we normally call them under fifth generation category of engines, and typically a time frame for development of these engines is close to about 10 years.
F-35's participation has led to murmurs about the possibility of US making a strong pitch to India. This also coincides with Indian Navy finalizing between the French Rafale and the US's FA-18A Super Hornet. With Shiv Aroor, Akshay Dongre and Manjeet Negi. Bureau Report, India Today.
So let's take you under the hood of the F-35. I saw it yesterday in Bengaluru. It's an absolutely amazing aircraft. But let's tell you a little bit more about it and why there's so much intrigue, why there's so much fascination over this thing called the F-35 Lightning II. Like I said, it's a multi-role, all-weather stealth fighter aircraft, and it is being built in the largest numbers for the US Air Force. It has been developed and is manufactured by the world's largest advanced systems company, Lockheed Martin. It is the most expensive aircraft development program in history. It cost a staggering $412 billion, approximately $500 billion is what it actually costs. It's capable, one variant of the F-35 called the F-35B is capable of vertical takeoff. That's the Marine Corps version. It's entered service with the United States Air Force in 2015-16 with all three services, the US Navy, the US Air Force, as well as the Marine Corps. So there are three variants of this aircraft. It's already combat proven. It has had time in combat theaters in some parts of the world. It took its first flight in December. Some variants of it took their first flight. They are capable of carrying all manner of weapons. Remember, these are stealth aircraft, but they can carry some nuclear weapons as well, according to some reports. Now, let's tell you about the avionics, or the electronic sensors and computer wizardry in these aircraft that truly make them amazing warfighting machines. This particular aircraft is armed with one of the most advanced combat radars ever made by the United States, which is a leader in such technology. It's called the AN/APG-81. It's an active electronically scanned array radar capable of incredible, sensor imagery, giving the pilot a great amount of domain awareness of what's around him. The weaponry on these aircraft are also, they range from the very basic, including a 25mm cannon in the aircraft, which is your very, very close combat sort of weapon. And if you need to use this weapon, then you already are in a bit of trouble. They're also armed with all manner of air-to-air missiles, which have been legacy systems and improved over the years in the United States Air Force, like the AIM-120 AMRAAM, which is a medium to long-range air-to-air missile. The MBDA Meteor also is fittable on this aircraft, because these aircraft are also used, remember, by the United Kingdom. The Royal Air Force, the Royal Navy, in fact, uses the F-35. The AGM-158C LR-SAM is also fittable on these. Anti-ship missiles are also fittable on the F-35. So all manner of weapons. Let's skip through all of these, because there are so many weapons that the F-35 can actually use that it makes it a highly modular Air Force jet that can be tweaked and modified for any kind of role, really. So the envelope, the capabilities, its performance, they're very, very technical things, but these matter a great deal to world air forces, especially in the new generation of warfare. So let's go straight across now to India Today's. I think we have Abhishek Balla with us live. Let's go straight across to him. Abhishek, obviously no surprises at all that the F-35 has been a big eye-catcher here in India. Lots of questions over, what the F-35s are doing here, because the F-35s are not part of any contest. They're not actively or officially competing in any tender that the Indian Air Force has put out. In fact, the manufacturer of the Lockheed Martin has an aircraft that is competing called the F-21, which is a variant of the F-16. So most people, would you agree, Abhishek, are looking at this as kind of a strategic muscle flex by the United States to India, to show that they've got all this technology and India shouldn't be looking anywhere else?
Well, Shiv, to start with, a super attraction at the Aero India, and you were there to experience it on your own. And well, there's no doubt that there is a lot of messaging that the US is doing by getting their two aircraft for the Aero India here. The F-35 obviously till now has not been offered by the US. There has been no inclination from the Indian side to going for a deal for the F-35. But you know what, Shiv, this has led to a lot of speculation, murmurs that is this going to, be some sort of a message to the Indian government, to the Indian Air Force, that if interested, the F-35 is available. Also, it's an interesting time because the Indian Navy is very close to finalizing between the Rafale, French Rafale, and the Super Hornet, which is again a US manufactured aircraft. At this point of time, for the F-35 to make this appearance, obviously a lot of questions will be asked, but it's difficult to speculate what the reason is, but definitely very strong messaging by the US here.
This is like the United States does this in a very, very a considered way. They know what messaging means. They know what that subtle art of sending out these mind games really is at a time when India is preparing to spend billions of dollars on foreign aircraft. Here you've got a pair of F-35s there. The message couldn't be clearer. Abhishek, thanks very much for that. Well, the F-35 is only one part of what has been a spectacular show at Aero India. Like I said, I was there yesterday. I hope all of you caught my show on Aero India from the ground yesterday. Here I am back in India's national capital to tell you about day 2 of Aero India. Here are all the big highlights from the show on day 2. Well, flying display commenced on this second day of Asia's biggest air show. HAL is the center of attraction. India's defense might has been put on display with all manner of aircraft. So if you're at the show, you're going to be seeing many different things. This, of course, is a vintage Dakota aircraft that was gifted to the Indian Air Force by Rajiv Chandrasekhar. That's right, Union Minister Rajiv Chandrasekhar, who paid for the refurbishment of this vintage aircraft, which is now part of the heritage flight of the Indian Air Force. The Aero India show also features all manner of models of aircraft and weapon systems, making it a dream come true for military aficionados. Models of the air-launched version of the BrahMos supersonic missile has been drawing a lot of crowds, as they always do. The BrahMos supersonic cruise missile is among the world's most powerful weapons and can quickly engage parts in the air and penetrate target parts while moving. Well, in the ongoing Aero India 2023 in Bengaluru, there's a special emphasis on new technology for all 3 services. This time, instead of Make in India, there's a pitch for Make for the World. The detailed design for India's indigenous combat aircraft has been launched at the event. Material and parts are to be used in the indigenous advanced medium combat aircraft. This is one of India's most important and most promising aviation projects ever. This is called the AMCA, and in the next few years, it will become a reality. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh engaged with his counterparts from 32 countries, sharing friendly relations with India, seeking participation for collaboration in the country's sectors include military equipment, especially air platforms. Well, at Aero India 2023, special emphasis is being laid on new technology for the 3 services, and the Indian Army is set to revolutionize the way they conduct their missions in the coming years. One piece of technology that has stood out and captured a huge amount of attention and intrigue is a jetpack suit. That's right. As the name suggests, it's a suit that turns a person into a jet, making them fly by wearing it. Soldiers will be able to fly 10 to 15 meters in the air by wearing this suit powered by a gas turbine engine. The weight of this suit will be about 40 kilograms. In this, the system is made in such a way that soldiers can fly and land wherever they want. It's pretty much like a science fiction film or a video game. Wearing a jetpack suit, soldiers can fly in the air at a speed of 50 kilometers per hour. That too for about 8 minutes. Crucial in emergency situations. The suit will work in any weather. The process of buying the system has also been started by the Indian Army. Take a look at this.
बेंगलुरु में चल रहे एरो इंडिया शो के दौरान मेक इन इंडिया पर जोर दिया जा रहा है। कई ऐसे नए इनोवेटर हैं जो सेनाओं के लिए अलग अलग तरह की नई तकनीक, नए इक्विपमेंट बना रहे हैं। हम आपको एक खास सिस्टम यहाँ पर दिखा रहे हैं, जेट सूट मार्क 1। हाल में भारतीय सेना ने इसका एक RFP निकाली है, जिसके तहत ऐसे जेट सूट बनाने वाले निर्माताओं से RFP मांगी गई है जो इस तरह किसी भी आपदा, किसी दुश्मन के इलाके में ऑपरेट करने के लिए इस तरह के जेट सूट को पहनकर जवान 5000 से 8000 फीट की ऊंचाई पर कैसे उड़ान भर सकता है इस जेट सूट की मदद से। इस जेट सूट की बात करें तो 40 किलो के आसपास का वजन है। ये सिलेंडर हाथ पर लगाए गए हैं। इसके अलावा पीछे जो जेट सूट का मुख्य हिस्सा है वो मौजूद है। तो किस तरह से ये काम करेगा, इस पर जो इनोवेटर हैं वो हमारे साथ हैं। उनसे हम बात करेंगे। राघव रेड्डी हैं जिन्होंने ये मॉडल तैयार किया है। इसके ट्रायल शुरू हुए हैं और इसके बारे में मैं आपसे जानना चाहूँगा कि जो ये जेट सूट मार्क 1 है, ये बनने के बाद किस तरह से, क्या इस्तेमाल, किस तरह से ये काम करेगा?
काम करना और इसका कैसे इस्तेमाल होगा, ये 2 चीज़ें हो सकते हैं सर। ये कैसे काम करेगा वो मैं बता सकता हूँ। इस्तेमाल कैसे करना चाहिए वो एंड यूज़र के ऊपर एक्चुअली डिपेंडेंट होता है, क्योंकि ये रिक्रिएशनल आइटम भी है, और क्रिटिकल एप्लीकेशंस में भी कहीं काम आ सकता है, स्पेशली जब कोई डिज़ास्टर हो जाता है ऐसा, तो मतलब फ्लाइट या लैंडस्लाइड्स होते हैं या तो फ्लड्स हो जाते हैं या कोई फायर एक्सीडेंट इन हाई राइज बिल्डिंग हो सकता है, लैंडमाइन क्रॉसिंग हो सकता है, रिवर क्रॉसिंग हो सकता है, एंड शिप टू शोर कम्यूट ऑफ द ट्रूप्स हो सकता है। अगर टेक्नोलॉजी के बारे में बात करेंगे, ये पूरा टर्बोजेट इंजन से चलता है, इसका डीजल फ्यूल है। हमने डीजल इसलिए चूज़ किया कि डीजल का जो फ्लैश पॉइंट एंड फायर पॉइंट है वो नॉर्मल एविएशन फ्यूल से बहुत काफ़ी आगे है, क्योंकि नॉर्मल रूम टेम्परेचर में आप अगर आग भी लगा दो ना, आग नहीं लगता है डीजल को। वो सेफ्टी को लेते हुए, तो मतलब ऑपरेटर के या पायलट का सेफ्टी को लेते हुए हमने डीजल के लिए इंजन्स को मॉडिफाई किया गया है। और ये नॉर्मली इंजन्स ऐसे वर्टिकली स्टार्ट नहीं होते हैं, हॉरिजॉन्टल पोजीशन में ही स्टार्ट होते हैं, बट इसको वर्टिकली स्टार्ट करने के लिए काफ़ी हमको मॉडिफिकेशन करना पड़ा। इसका कैपेबिलिटीज़ के बारे में अगर बात करें कि फ्यूल पार्ट है, हाँ, ये फ्यूल टैंक है, ये 30 लीटर तक फ्यूल ले सकता है। ये सब इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स कंपोनेंट बे है, एयर इनटेक है, एंड 3 इंजन्स है पीछे भी, एंड एग्जॉस्ट है। इसका टोटल वजन 40 से लेके 50 केजीज तक है, 40 से लेके 50 किलो तक है। जितना फ्यूल लेंगे उसके ऊपर इसका ऑल अप वेट एंड ऑल्सो द इक्विपमेंट वेट डिपेंडेंट होता है। 80 केजी पेलोड को उठा सकता है, विच इज़ द पायलट वेट। अगर पायलट में भी 70 किलो हो सकता है, तो 10 किलो वो कुछ वो कोई कार्गो लेके जा सकता है।
Stay with India Today. 6 p.m. Prime with Akshita comes up next. 6 hours and counting. Income tax raids on the BBC is continuing in both Delhi and Mumbai. Akshita gets you the latest on those raids.